Hey all, it's Ginger Zebra. So today we're going to talk about hysterectomies because I just had one. That's why I haven't been on in 2 weeks. So I've told you before that I have adenomyosis and I have Ehlers-Danlos and chronic pain and a lot of different things. And forgive me right now, I do have a cold. We'll talk about that another time. I'm going to re-angle this. I just got one of those sticks to hold up my phone, so I'm trying to use it. If it drops or falls, sorry, forgive me. So first of all, I'm going to tell you all about my experience. My OB is absolutely amazing, and so we went with her. I had to use the hospital I had a bad experience at, because it was either that or I go to a hospital that has a bad rate of infections with surgeries, and since zebras are prone to infections, I absolutely was not going to use that hospital. Plus, they are not the best hospital, honestly. So I chose to go to the hospital that I don't really care for because one, it's closer, and two, it was the better of the two. So went to the hospital, didn't really like. Went ahead and went to pre-op. Pre-op went okay. They really kind of pushed me through it. It was snowing pretty hard when we got there. We got there on time. They tried to tell me I was late, and they called me and told me I wasn't there, and I was in the waiting room waiting for my name to be called. So I was like, yeah, I'm here. I'm just waiting. But I was there on time. It was their system that was wrong. So that was an interesting little situation. So once I got into the pre-op area, they started my IV, actually listened to me, did it on the right veins, not the vein that blows and rolls and everything. And so then they decided they needed to draw more blood after the IV was going, after the anesthesiologist came in. Well, the pre-op nurse just wanted to get it done, and the anesthesiologist said no, with her having Ehlers-Danlos, we need to do it a certain kind of way. I went to the restroom and came back, and I heard him talking about vascular Ehlers-Danlos, and I stopped and I told him I do not have vascular. I know I have hypermobile. After the surgery, we're going to do a little bit more testing because it is possible I could have a different type now, but we're going to explore that, and I'll tell you if that happens. So now he went to go get a sonogram machine to draw the blood, and the nurse decided she was just going to stick me anyways. So now I still have a bruise 2.5 weeks later on my arm from where she decided to just jab it in. So I'll show you a few of these pictures as we go on. I can't show you all of them because most of them are on my phone, which I am talking to you on. So the whole surgery experience was perfectly fine. My doctor does a great job. She's delivered my baby. She's been my doctor for 10 years. I trust her. She's not who I worry about. It's the hospital that I'm not fond of. So my experience when I move into the post-op is fine, not having any problems there. Everything's going well. I get to see my husband. They decide I'm ready to go to my room. We go to my room. My first daytime nurse is great, not having any issues. She is very attentive, very helpful. The nighttime nurse, not so much. This is where I had problems at the other one with the nighttime nurse as well. The nighttime nurse wants me to get up and walk. Well, I'd been taken off Dilaudid because I don't do well on Dilaudid, which I told them. I'd been put on morphine, which I have trouble staying awake on morphine. I explained to the nurse when I can't walk on my own, and she wanted to take the catheter out. You can't take the catheter out when someone can't walk on their own. And so I explained to the nurse, you can't take my catheter out until I can walk on my own. I can't walk on my own to the bathroom until I'm off of morphine. when I'm off of morphine, you can take the catheter out. It's 3 a.m. She's arguing with me about taking the catheter out. The nurse's assistant comes in. He says, can we at least get you up? Sure, no problem. Really don't want to get up at 3 a.m. I want to sleep. But I know that's protocol, so whatever. I get up. He goes, ooh, you're really unstable. I said, yeah, I know. I already have mobility issues as it is. And I'm on morphine, and morphine makes me very, very tired and very, very dizzy. So what I'd like to do, because he mentions we have to get the catheter out. I understand. I know. Can cause infections if you don't. No big deal. I just want to wait till I can be on a pain medicine where I can think straight. I can keep my eyes open, not fall asleep while I'm walking. He goes, oh, so you just want to wait till morning? Yeah, that's it. The nurse goes and gets the charge nurse, says, my nurse here says you are refusing to let us take the catheter out. I looked at him and I said, it's now 4 a.m. It's been an hour that your nurse has been coming in here. Well, I said it's been a few hours now that the nurse has been coming in and bothering me. I am not refusing to take the catheter out. I am telling her morphine messes with my head. It makes me very dizzy. It makes me very sleepy. And I have mobility issues as it is. And so I cannot walk when I'm on morphine. So what I want you to do, and this is exactly what I told her as she's standing right there. I can go and take the catheter out as soon as I can walk. I can walk as soon as I switch to oral meds. But it is 4 a.m. Don't you think I should be sleeping right now instead of arguing with you over a catheter? And he's like, yeah. And I said, so? He goes, but the nighttime, but the nurse's assistant said that you were getting around really well and he helped you stand up. And I said, nope, that's not at all what he said. He said I was very unstable and very shaky when I got up. And he goes, oh, you're right. And I said, yeah. I said, I have Ehlers-Danlos. I have instability issues. All I want, and this is what I have told every single person who has come in my room. I said, there's been people coming in every 20 minutes. I can't sleep like this. And I said, all I want is for you guys to leave me alone so I can sleep tonight. Then in the morning, you can come in, you can take the catheter out, you can put me on an oral pain medication so that I can actually walk. He goes, oh, that's it? That's all you want? Yeah, that's all I want. Okay, we can do that. I was like, that's what I've told every single person who's come in here. 5 minutes later, someone comes in to draw blood. I'm like, okay, you can come draw blood at 8 a.m. Just let me sleep. No more interruptions. 5 minutes later, someone comes in to check my blood pressure. I'm like, I didn't get 5 minutes of uninterrupted sleep there. So yeah, my doctor tells me that my uterus, this is what makes us think I may have another kind of EDS. My uterus was both completely plastered to the wall of my abdominal wall. It was also completely plastered to my bladder, which is causing me to feel pain when I urinate. And it's also causing my bladder to spasm as well. So we're hoping that that is not a problem as the time goes on, but after seeing her today, there is medication that can help with that. We're just not sure if I won't react to it or not. So we're gonna wait on that. So the pain, the hospital bed that I was in, when I sat in it, I immediately felt pain, and we're working on the sciatica issue. So there was an issue with the bed. When I sat in it, I felt like I was sitting directly on metal. And so I had that daytime nurse, who was very nice, get me some pillows. And we put a pillow under my rear. We put pillows up my back so that I was fine. Well, when I went to check, after I got the catheter out the next day, I realized I moved those pillows. I was sitting directly on the metal. It was an air mattress. And every time I sat down, it took me straight down to the metal. And as soon as they got that catheter out and I went and used the restroom, they had my discharge papers on the table before I could even walk out of the restroom. They pushed me out so fast. What I noticed before I left is I was already starting to develop a rash from the tape, which I'm allergic to almost all tape. There's only one tape that I know I can use, which is Care sensitive tape. I keep it on hand at all times. I do not have it downstairs right now. It is upstairs. I already started having an allergic reaction and started breaking out into a rash from the tape before I left. They did give me oxycodone in the hospital. I did not know it was oxycodone. I tried to warn everybody before that oxycodone is something I react badly to, but it is a reaction that has occurred between when I've had my last baby and when I've this has all happened. Apparently it didn't get through to the doctor's notes and I was given oxycodone. So by the time I took the second dosage, I was like, wait a second, what is this? Because it looked funny, and my husband had picked it up from the pharmacy. And I was like, okay, well, last time it just made my head floaty and it didn't help the pain. Since I already have it, I'll just see what happens. Well, it didn't help the pain at all. And so I called the doctor. It was too late. It was a Friday at that point, because I'd used my other medication I already had here, since he couldn't go get it Thursday. And so I started reacting. I started breaking out into more and more of a rash. Or no, I'm sorry. I took it Thursday, and I tried to call Thursday night, but they were closed. I called the after hours line. No, it was Friday. I was released Thursday. I tried to use the medication Thursday. I used the medication Thursday night. I called Friday. But by the time that I was able to get through, because I slept so much on Friday, after not being able to sleep at all, I switched to my hydrocodone that I had here, and I tried to call, but I missed the time because I slept through the whole day on Friday, that I missed being able to see a doctor at my clinic, and I ended up covered in a rash. It was throughout my whole belly, started spreading up my breasts, started spreading down my legs. But as of Friday, it was just across my belly. I went to the ER because it had gotten so bad that I couldn't wear anything with seams. I couldn't wear anything loose fitting, because loose fitting, if it rubbed across it, it would just send me into uncontrollable itching. I used like a tube of Benadryl by Monday. And I can't use hydrocortisone because I'm allergic to it. So I went to the ER. They got me a new script for what I'm not allergic to, which is hydrocodone. And they also got me, but they took care of the pain. They think I'm allergic to the hydrocodone. I also stopped the ibuprofen because I'm typically not, I don't do well on that as well. I looked extremely pregnant. I went back at my pregnancy pictures, and I actually looked 7 months pregnant at that point. And then I saw my OBGYN on Monday, because the rash they told me it would be the worst on Friday night. By Sunday, it had spread down my legs and it had spread into my breasts. And so I went to see I called Monday morning and they worked me in. We ended up getting a steroid for the rash because it had gotten so unbearable that I could barely even sleep. In fact, this whole time I've had trouble sleeping. I had to take stuff to help me sleep while I was on the steroid because I do not sleep on a steroid. But I couldn't have anything baggy. My mom had come Saturday night and she was helping, and a couple of friends had come by, and I've had so many people coming to help me, which I'll get to that in a minute. But I mean, it's the rash just put me over the edge with excruciating pain and everything, and so it's been very painful. With all this, I wouldn't go back, but the steroid did help reduce the pain a lot, as well as the pain medicine. By Tuesday, my belly button, the glue had come off and it was starting to look infected. So I had to call the nurse back. I put some of my cream on it that I had, but mine was expired. So they called me in an antibiotic and a cream. And I have so many allergies to antibiotics that of the ones that they could use, there was only like one or two that I could use. By Thursday, the whole glue from the belly button had come out. It looked as if the two sides were actually coming apart. Friday morning, the rest of the glue fell out, and I could see that one side was just overlapping the other, but I had already made an appointment, and so I went in and saw the PA, and they stripped it back together. By the way, when you have a hysterectomy, there's a couple things that will be your best friend. One is a hysterectomy pillow. This is a space to put an ice pack. Every time you sneeze, cough, anything happens, you hold this against your belly. It helps so much to keep it from being very painful. Also, granny panties. You can get them on Amazon with compression. They're amazing. I just had to size down because I had been so swollen. I was in a larger size than normal. I now found ones that are like very, very soft cotton, and I have ordered more because I'm going to be in these for a while. I'm still very bloated. I now look about 3 months pregnant, so we're making progress. But yeah, so back to the whole story. So I go back to the doctor. I'm finally on a path.